thank you for joining us to talk about the House of Sport. It's something you and I have talked about for a long time. It's a really, really big store, and it's hard to get your head around it unless you're here, unless you're in the store.
Yep.
But because not everyone is able to be here with us today, can you describe a little bit about the House of Sport concept? What is it? Why is it important to Dick's Sporting Goods?
House of Sport is it's a concept that we started roughly 9 years ago, and because we were going to design what was called the store of the future. And so we went through and designed this of what we thought retail was going to be like. In our office, we've got 25,000 square feet where we can build certain aspects of the store and make sure that we like how it looks before it gets out here. So we built parts of it in the office there, and as we got done with it, sometimes things don't translate as well from paper to reality. And when we looked at it and it was built, walked through it and said, no, it's not different enough from what we're doing right now. So we scrapped it and came back roughly 6 years ago and said, okay, we got to start this project again. We got to really look at what the future of retail is going to be and what the consumer wants and what would be best for our business and how we can really differentiate ourselves from everybody else out there in the marketplace. So we started to develop this, and the whole North Star when we laid this out that I talked about was we need to build the concept that'll kill Dick's Sporting Goods. We need to build a concept that if somebody else built this store across the street from us, we're out of business. And that's exactly what we did. The first store we built was in Rochester, New York. That's how it's gotten started, and it's been a great concept for it. It's worked extremely well, and we've got 30. We'll have 35 of these by the end of the year, and we'll have roughly 75 to 100 by the end of 28.
It's a big store, and this location is attached to a mall. Is that the general concept for House of Sport across the board?
Most of them are. Most of them are old department stores that we've kind of come in and stripped it down to the studs and rebuilt the whole thing.
This is an old.
This was a Sears building.
Okay.
You know, which if you walked in here, you see no remnants of Sears at all. We stripped it right down to the studs and rebuilt the whole thing. And mall developers love having us do this now that they understand what we're doing, because usually in the Sears wing or a wing that has a vacant department store for a while, that wing of the mall is not usually leased very well for the developers. So the developers have been very aggressive on enticing us to come in and do this, because not only does it bring traffic to the mall, but it helps them lease the wing of the mall that maybe have been under-leased in the past.
And so you hear a lot of people saying they're afraid to put stores in the mall or invest in the mall because the mall is changing, but hasn't been a worry for you.
It hasn't, and we've taken an anchor position, and we've put these in mostly, you know, A and B malls. So we haven't gone to malls that are truly dying and try to redevelop them. They're usually in a pretty solid mall that had a vacant Sears box in it, or a vacant Lord & Taylor box, or a vacant Nordstrom box, and have redone the whole thing. And either we strip it down to the studs and redo it, or we knock the building down and build brand new.
So the guts of it still feel like Dick's Sporting Goods, but it's bigger, it's brighter. Like you said, it's the Dick's Sporting Goods of the future.
Yeah.
What do all of the House of Sport have in common?
They're not identical because the boxes are somewhat different sizes, but these are usually, from going forward, they're usually 120 to 150,000 square feet. Now, a traditional Dick's store is about 50,000 square feet, and most of them are on 2 levels, and a really big store, but they're all a little different, but they have the same DNA, you know? They're like the family you see that the kids kind of, you can tell they're brothers and sisters, you know, and that's kind of what we've here. So they've all got a climbing wall in it, so the kids can come and climb. Most of them have a field that kids can come and practice. In that field, we turn into an ice skating rink in the northern market. So hockey teams come and practice on there. We have community skates. We've got all the technology to fit you with a set of golf clubs. We've got a batting cage downstairs, a sport cage. There's a lot going on in these stores. This footwear deck is about 9,000 square feet, not including House of Cleats. Traditional Dick's store is about 3,500. So when you take a look at the broad selection of footwear that we have in here around basketball, running, the lifestyle concept, men's, women's, kids, it's really very different.
There's a lot of brands in this store that I haven't noticed in other Dick's Sporting Goods store. What's the strategy there?
It's gotten to be, so House of Sport is so different and so unique. Some brands that wouldn't there either wouldn't be space to put in a Dick's Sporting Goods store, or they may not want to be in a Dick's Sporting Goods store, have wanted to be in House of Sport. So that's Varley, Stio. We're going to be the first retailer to have Gymshark in the U.S. So there's a whole series of brands that are here that really differentiates us from not only other Dick's stores, but differentiates us from anything else in retail.
You know, I think people will look at this and say, this is the time when many retailers are going small format. They're trying to figure out how can they be more productive or as productive in a smaller format.
Yeah.
For you, though, it seems like bigger is working. Can you give us some of the details of the sales and the AUR for a House of Sport?
Sure. Well, I'm going to go back. You're right. So many people are going smaller, and I kind of, my tongue-in-cheek comment about the street a number of years ago, they might ask me, they'd say, so in 10 years, how many stores will you have and how big will they be? And because their concept was, I don't really know how many stores you have, but you have too many. Or, I don't really know how big your store is, but it's too big. You need to make it smaller. And when I tell them, hey, our philosophy is that in 10 years, we'll have probably the same amount of stores, but we'll have a lot more square footage. Didn't go over very well, you know, and our stock kind of stalled out for that. But we really felt that it was the right decision to make, and we've gone and done that, and it's been wildly successful. So we've kind of talked about this, a traditional House of Sport store on an omni basis will do 35 plus million, and we'll make an EBITDA of roughly 20%. So these are extremely, extremely productive, because there are certain markets, sizes, or neighborhoods that just couldn't support this. And but what we have found is, we've been at this for now 6 years or so, is that we can put more of them in a market than we originally thought, and we can put them in smaller markets than we originally thought.
I'd love to talk for a second just about the Foot Locker business, because the deal just closed on September 8th.
And we couldn't be more excited about Foot Locker in the opportunities here in the United States and in EMEA and APAC. And you know, Foot Locker kind of lost its way for a number of reasons. You know, whether it's kind of what the Nike distribution strategy, kind of what was happening in kind of the sneaker industry. But we couldn't be happier with what's going on with Foot Locker and the opportunity. You know, there was a lot of people when we first made this acquisition, they didn't like it. I mean, our stock got hammered, and we knew that they weren't going to like it. But the stock got hammered down to $170, got whacked, I think, 20%. But we knew that this was the right thing to do, and a lot of people in the investment community would have preferred us just to continue to do what we're doing, you know, and not make any changes. But that's not in our DNA. And I've talked a number of times about, we don't make investments or decisions for a quarter or two. We make investments and decisions for a lifetime. And this acquisition of Foot Locker is for a lifetime. We always talk that footwear is the engine that pulls the train. And between here and Foot Locker, we will have some real, we're excited about the footwear business going forward.
Youth sports has really taken off as far as involvement, but also cost, frankly. I mean, Dick's Sporting Goods does certainly help outfit the family, but has that been also part of your success?
Yeah, I think that the innovation in sport equipment, of which footwear is a part of it, today apparel is part of the equipment piece, that innovation is more expensive, and athletes or parents outfitting their kids want to give their kids the best opportunities to succeed and to perform well. I think the consumer is a little bit stressed. Our consumer is still great, because we continue to bring that innovative product to the marketplace. We bring it to the market in an innovative way.
Well, Ed Stack, thank you very much for having us here in Dick's House of Sport. It's a really interesting concept. I hope people can come see it themselves.
Thanks for coming, and we appreciate it.